Dear student, good morning. I welcome you to our online class being hosted by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University. I am your counselor, academic counselor, Dr. S.M. Pasiula. We'll be dealing with the second year paper, that is aspects of language and their relation to literature. This is prescribed as a course 7 in your program in the second year. And so far we have to discuss various important topics within the course. And in today's class, I'll be taking you through a few more important, topics that may be of help to you from examination point of view. And there is one student who has joined, and I request that candidate, that student, to post a message in the group, WhatsApp group, that class has started, so that others can also join. We'll take a minute or two so that others can join and we can begin discussing important questions. Well, we will start and discuss important topics in the course today. First of all, we are dealing with the course 7, that is aspects of language and their relation to literature. In this course, we have 5 different blocks, or the whole course is divided into 5 different blocks, and which covers as many as 22 different uh, 22 different units, or 22 chapters. We don't call it chapters, but 22 different, units. All these units are related to either the aspect of language or literature. Well, so the first block deals with language as a discourse, whereas the second block talks about language of literature. And the third block covers units under language and literature. The fourth block is about language and narration. The last block, that is block fifth, is about language and literature, cross-cultural differences. Okay, so these 22 units have been divided into five major blocks. Each block has 5 units. Let me take you through that quickly. The first block, which is language as a discourse, has 5 units. The first unit is the structure of language, that is discourse and overview. The second unit is about rhetoric. The third unit is about speech act theory. Fourth unit is about speech functions. Fifth unit is about language as social phenomena. In the second block, you have unit sixth, which is primary features. Unit 7, poetic function. Unit 8, analysis of literary language, that is poetry. Unit 9, again, analysis of literary language, that is from fiction. And Unit 10, the last unit in the block 2, that is as analysis of literary language, prose. Okay. Now coming to third block, which is language and literature, we have again 5 units. Unit 11, it is emergence of literary theory and literary concepts. Unit 12, structuralism and language. Unit 13, structuralist applications to prose, poetry, and drama. Unit 14 is about post-structuralism and language, whereas Unit 15 is about Derrida's notion of language. Now coming to fourth block, which is language and narration, we have 2 units. Unit 16, narratology. Unit 17, structure of the novel and the short story. Coming to Unit 5, we have language and literature, cross-cultural differences. In this block, we have 5 units. Unit 18, Indian languages and literature. Unit 19, Indian rhetorical traditions. Unit 20, body language. Unit 21, silent language. Unit 22, said and unsaid. So, in a nutshell, uh, the whole course has 22 units covered under 5 different blocks, thematically covered under 5 different blocks. So, my attempt today, as though requested by many students, is would be to take you through some of the important topics in each block and unit. So if you are connected with me right now online, I request you to take the hard copy of the material sent to you, the course material sent to you by the university. So it is the paper titled Aspects of Language and Their Relation to Literature. It's a MA English course 7 or paper 7. If you have this copy with you, so it would be easy for both me and you, to locate important topics within the book. Okay. Do you have the copy with you?
Good morning, sir. We have.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Good morning. So yeah, so we'll start with the first block. I have an edition published in 2018. Okay. If you have an edition published later, maybe 1920 or same one, then there would be a slight change in number, one page here and there, one page number here and there. Okay, but still we can locate it. So we are searching for important topics in block 1. Okay, in my case, it starts from page number 1 and goes up to page number 44. Okay, block 1 is from 1 to 44. So what I'll do is I'll just tell you the page number and the important topic in it. So on page number 5, you have something called hmm, cooperative principles on page number 5, just above heading 1.7.
So 1.7 is organization of discourse.
Yeah, just above it, you have 5, cooperative principles, given by Grice. You just take it, okay, as an important to know. You have, 4 maxims, right? Sorry, 4 maxims. Cooperative principles given by Grice, which has, 4
The
maxim of
maximum of
quality,
quantity, quality.
maxim of quality, manner, and all. This is one topic, okay? So let's
Okay.
move to the next one on page number 6. Okay, so here the question would be like, what is discourse and discourse analysis, okay? Discourse and discourse analysis may be the question, in which case you have to define what discourse is, which is available on page number 6 in the first paragraph and second paragraph, and then you have third paragraph, which is in order to qualify as discourse. There are 3 different things that needs to be there. So this is a topic, second important topic.
Okay, sir.
Then let's move to page number 11, which is unit 2, rhetoric. In rhetoric, you have to define what rhetoric is. Okay. Use. Okay. And when you are reading about rhetoric, what rhetoric is and how it has come up, okay, remember you try to distinguish between rhetoric and dialectic, which is on page number 13, uh, heading number 2.6.1. So one extra line you have to remember when you are talking about rhetoric. Okay. Let's move to page number 21. First, we will note down important topics, and after when we are done with this, you please note down somewhere which topic you want me to repeat, if there are any doubts. So on page number 21, you have speech act theory given by J.L. Austin. Okay. Within that, you have uh, on page number 22 and 23, you have 3 different acts, right? Locationary act, allocationary act, and perlocationary act. This is something we have dealt with in our physical classes. So this is also an important, topic. And similarly, on page number 24, you have a speech act theory given by Sir. So uh, either it is about uh, Austin or Searle. Whenever a question comes on speech act theory, you have to talk about both the contribution of both John Searle and J.L. Austin to this speech act theory. Okay, then let's move on to page number uh, page number 30. You have Jacobson's speech event or factors and functions. Page number 30. Page number 30. I hope you are following me.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. On 31, you have another topic, communicative competence and speaking model. Their hands, model of, speaking. Here, speaking is a acronym. You have as many as, 7 different things within that, acronym speaking. SPEAKING. Setting, participants, ends, act sequence, key, instrumentalities, norms of interaction, and genre. Okay, after that, let's move to another topic. Yeah, on page number 36, a language as a social fact or language as a social identity. These are the questions often repeated. Both 5.3 and 5.5. After 5.3, it should have been 5.3. There is some printing mistake. Okay. On 36, you have language as a social fact. On 37, you have language as a social identity. These two are general questions often asked. Okay. After that, we'll go to page number 48. On page number 48, you have literary language and scientific language, something we discussed yesterday, how to distinguish between a normal language, a literary language, and how to distinguish between literary language and scientific language. Okay. Literary language is connotative, whereas scientific language is generative. These two important ideas you have to keep in mind. Then you can supply examples to make your point clear. Okay. Now on page number 49, you have ambiguity as a literary language. Okay. So different types of ambiguity is also there. We discussed in the last class. On page number 50, you have denotative and connotative language. That is also an important topic. Let's move to page number 50. Page number 54. Uh, 7.2, 7.3, and 7.4 are related topics. We discussed with reference to Plato and Aristotle in the when we were talking about functions of literature. Okay. So these three things together. Coming to page number 62, you have poetic devices, right? Alliteration and onomatopoeia and imagery and symbolism. These two you have to keep in mind. Yeah, coming to page number 68, you have form of fiction. Within that, you have style in fiction, style, repetition, and emphasis and dialogue. These are only three important to invest. Okay, now coming to page number 85, you have literary criticism and literary theory. We discussed this in detail, and I hope you would be able to write about it in the examination if it comes. And then we also discussed the concept of author, text, and the reader, which is on page number 86. So on 85, you have literary criticism and theory. On 86, you have author, text, and reader concept. And moving forward to page number 88, we have structuralism and post-structuralism. And 89, Derrida's notion of language. Yeah, when it comes to Derrida's notion of language, we discussed about structure, sign, play is important to know work. Whenever there is a mention of Derrida, which means we are talking about post-structuralism. Yes, coming to page number coming to page number 135, you have a small a definition of what narratology is starting in the first paragraph itself. Gerald Prince, in his book Narratology, The Form and Functioning of Narrative, defines narrative as the representation of at least two real or fictive events or situations in a time sequence, neither of which presupposes or entails the other. So this is the definition that you have to uh, talk about in your own answer if there is anything or any question on narratology. Then you can also refer to the book An Introduction to Structural Analysis of Narrative by Roland Barthes. Yes, so jumping to 136, you have the concept of narrator, narrative, and narration, right? And then also point of view. These three, this whole unit number 16, has been covered in one slide that we in one lecture online counseling session we had previously. Okay, where we also discussed about the actual author, the actual reader, then implied author, implied reader, narrator, and narrative. So in page number 146, you have form and technique of a short story and of a novel. If you just read this once, and it will be easier to grasp important points from these explanation, because uh, something that a topic related to this we have covered when we were talking about narrator, narrative, and narration. So with that context in mind, if you read this form and technique, it will be easier for you to remember what are the different form and technique of short story and novel. Yes, so moving forward, we have Indian literature. which we also discuss in detail. Okay. So I think whatever comes on Indian literature, you would be able to answer it. Yes. Then we have Indian rhetorical traditions on page number 166. So there are multiple schools of thought. Riti school, Alankara school, Vakrokti school, and Thwani school and Rasa school. These are uh, there are two more, but the prominent ones are Riti, Alankara, Vakrokti, Dhwani, and Rasa. These are five different important schools of thought within Indian literary traditions. There is one unit on body language, right? And we already know what body language is and the role of body language in language in communication, right? There is also silent language and sign language. Just shut off. Okay, so if you get the time, you can read all these things. Otherwise, you can leave us. Yes, so these were some of the important to know topics in your course, and through our uh, offline classes and online interactive sessions, we have tried to cover as many of these topics as possible. Now, if you think you need any clarity on any of the topic or any of the different ideas related to this topic, you may ask me right now. Uh, Probably I'll be able to help you in preparing uh, from examination point of view. So whatever topics that I have indicated in our quick recap, you please let me know which particular topic you would want me to uh, explain again or clarify. Please tell me the name of the topic and page number also. Yeah, I'm waiting for any uh, input. Do I need to repeat any of the topics, or whatever we covered so far uh, is good enough for you from the examination point of view?
Sir, every topic we are able to understand, sir. Every topic is easy.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And we have tried to cover as many as possible in offline and online classes. Uh, we I think in Indian literary traditions we talked about Pakrokti and Rasa theory, right? But there are two more. Probably I think I should quickly take you through that so that whatever comes from this one important uh, block you should not miss. Okay. Derrida's notion of language is a request. Yes, I'll take it up. Thank you so much. I'll explain it once again. Any other? Somebody, wrote in the chat. I'll do that. Okay. So yeah, so I'll just quickly take you through these two schools of thought. Okay, you are already familiar with Vakrokti and Rasa theory. And you also have, I think the screenshots and important points. And I'll also share my PPT with you to one of you so that you can make benefit from it. Or you don't even need that because the book that you have is contains detailed discussion on those topics. I just pick and choose a few lines and few points from this written material so that I remember what to teach. So my PPT is like not complete thing. Unless you read this book, you may not be able to make use of that PPT. Okay, so there is nothing unusual or extraordinary in my PPT that I used. So those are just points for me to remember and move smoothly in the lecture. Okay. Yes, so coming to the Riti school, mm, in 7th century CE, there were two important philosophers, Dandin and Vamana. Uh, Vamana observes that Riti Ratmakavyasya, that Riti is the soul of poetry. He opines that Riti consists in spatial arrangement or combination of words, and that their speciality lies in possession of gunas. The Riti school holds that style or manner contributes to the excellence of a literary composition. Okay. What these particular schools, like in case of Vakrokti, we have learned that Vakra and Ukti, right, which is deviation from the normal. So poetry becomes poetry because it deviates from the normal usage of the language. Okay, because you bring in metaphor, you bring in simile, right? If I say you are an apple of my eye, am I referring to apple? Am I referring to eye? So in a plain and straightforward language, the connotation, the denotation is apple and eye. But that is not what a person using the language in a deviant way, in a abnormal way, right? Excuse me, one second. Yeah. So, so Vakrokti is actually, uh, slightly uh, deviation from the normal, the deviation from the normal usage of the language. Okay. So poetry becomes poetry because of going or not strictly following the rules of the normal language. Okay. So I gave you example of a metaphor, and there are other different figures of speech, which helps or which makes language usage different. Okay, and the chief component of Akrukti was Kuntaka. So in a similar way, Riti school, right, propounded by this Dandin and Vamana, they say that uh, the significance and the excellence in the language comes with its style. Okay, so that is the crux of Riti school. Now, when we go to Alankara school, uh, what you know, okay, so Alankara school also says that what are the factors? No, the question is what are the factors that makes the language of literature is special, language of the poetry is special. So they say that they said that beauty in the literary work, okay, or performative work comes with sentiments. So in a poetry, so one school of thought says that the figures of speech that makes it unique or different. One says deviation from the normal usage of the language that makes it unique and special. So Alankara school says that it is the emotions and sentiments that are added hmm, to the composition within the composition. That is what it makes special. Okay. It is propounded by Dhamaha. Okay. Now, when we jump to the Dhwani school, okay, this school attaches importance to the suggested sense. This theory is based on the analysis of the words and their meanings. The words have three kinds of functions: primary, secondary, and suggested. These are technically called Abhida, Lakshana, and Vyanjana. Okay. The secondary function, Lakshana, is resorted to when the primary function, Abhida, undergoes stultification or Badha. The function of suggestion is found to be useful in this case of certain words which, when uttered, indicate some other sense nodal. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Okay, Dhwani school is propounded by our chief exponent of this school of thought is Ananda Vardhana and Abhinava Gupta. The one important thing that can be remembered the moment you hear about Dhwani school is that this school attaches importance to meaning rather than the word structure and its deviant use of language and all those things are given by some different schools of thought. But this Dhwani school attaches importance to or gives importance to meaning of or the sense of the composition at a sentence level or at a word level. Okay. So according to this school of thought, that is Dhwani school of thought, words have three kinds of function: primary function, secondary function, and suggested function. For primary, they use the word abhida. For secondary, they use the word lakshana. And for suggested, they use the word vyanjana. Okay. Rasa, we already discussed. Okay. Yes, so now I'll go to the Derrida's notion of language. Structuralism. It's the whole unit 15 is dedicated to this topic, that is Derrida's notion of language. Right? So Derrida talks about two different things, right? At one hand, he talks about structure, sign, and play. And the other thing that he talks about is difference, not difference, difference. There is A after R instead of E in difference. Okay. So we know that when we discuss structuralism, we know that structuralism views the world in terms of structures, and that point of view, that lens of looking at world in terms of its structure is applied to language. And then Ferdinand de Saussure, he says that language is also a system of comprising of variety of structure whose minimal unit, whose least unit is actually a sign, whereas sign comprised of signifier and signified. Okay, this is what structuralism said, and then comes Jacques Derrida, And he says that no, there is some issue when we looked at things from structuralist point of view. So what he objected to and about structuralism became post-structuralism. Okay. Now in post-structuralism, uh, post-structuralism is actually rooted in one of his important paper he presented uh, at John Hopkins University in 1966. The title of that paper is Structure, Sign, and Play in the Discourse of Human Sciences. Okay. Now, you have to remember this title of the paper, Structure, Sign, and Play in the Discourse of Human Sciences, a lecture or a paper presented by Jacques Derrida in 1966 at John Hopkins University. Okay. This essay uh, gives us what Derrida thinks about language. We know that Ferdinand Diess also thought about language as a system of structures. So now when we come to Jacques Derrida, he has a different view of looking at language, which we understand as post-structuralism, or we also understand it as Derrida's notion of language. Now, post-structuralism is a way both a continuation of structuralism and at the same time a radical critique of structuralism. We know that structuralism focuses primarily on language, which is believed to be an organization of several several structural relations. Okay. Ferdinand Diess also believed that language is a system of relations, and a system is a structure of interrelationships, and hence it is the interrelationships which makes language work. Okay. Now on page number 24, if you are able to locate it, you can highlight this particular point. Are you able to locate and highlight that?
Yes, sir. It is on page number 122 in new books.
Okay, no problem. So, but under post-structuralism heading, post-structuralism and Derrida, you can highlight, I think three different, points in the single paragraph. First point, post-structuralism is a way both up to critique of structuralism. That is one point. And then Saussure believed that language is blah, 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 up to, work, language work. These two, uh, okay, from post-structuralism to, you just take this whole paragraph as an important one to understand what post-structuralism is. And on the same page in the old book, there is a mention of this paper that I talked about. So whenever you're talking about Derrida or post-structuralism or Derrida's notion of language, please cite this paper title, Structure, Sign, and Play in the Discourse of Human Sciences, presented at conference titled The Language of Criticism, blah, blah, in 1966 at Johns Hopkins University. Okay. Now let's come and uh, the major difference between structuralists and Derrida or proponents of post-structuralists that uh, he actually uh, focuses on one very important idea, that is logocentrism versus phonocentrism. I'm trying to locate in your book where it is actually. Well, I think, on page number 126 on the old book, you have this, uh, okay. You please just note down these two words, logocentric versus phonocentric. You write these two keywords in your notebook. Okay. I'll explain that to you. Okay. Now this debate about logocentric and phonocentric has come up only because Derrida focused on that. What Derrida tried to tell the world to all the scholars and philosophers, right? Is that you are giving uh, much attention to written word. Okay. Uh, that is, whatever attention that you are giving in terms is philosophically and otherwise is on written word, right? Which means uh, logocentrism. Okay. Whereas Derrida says, the language itself is actually, a spoken phenomenon. Now we have more than 5,000, languages. Now, how many of those languages have the script? Very few. Very few languages have written scripts. And when you have written script, then only there you will have the written language, right? So what about the majority of the languages which don't have a script? So if you are paying attention to written word, right, which is logocentrism, then you are ignoring a majority of the languages which are which do not have script and which must be taken into consideration when we talk about language, right? So he comes up with a new as a counter idea, that is phonocentrism, which means we must pay attention to the sound of the language rather than the word, written word. Rather than written word, the attention should be paid to spoken word. So this is a major higher level difference between structuralism and post-structuralism. So post-structuralism is a kind of uh, counter view to structuralism, where Derrida says rather than paying attention on a written word, the attention should be paid on spoken word. So written word is logocentrism, paying attention to written language. Ferdinand de Saussure says, we need to look at language in terms of system of variety of relation and structures. So that is actually a logocentric way of looking at language, looking at the printed language, written language. So Derrida comes and says no, when there is the majority of languages are only spoken and language itself is a spoken phenomena. So the attention should be on spoken word. Okay. So that is what is major view about the notion of this language. And there is one more important thing, that is uh, just give me a second. Uh, Derrida's actually counters one more view, that is structuralists and people prior to structuralism also believe that there is always a binary, like right versus wrong, hmm, hot versus cold kind of thing. But Derrida states that metaphysical reduction of the sign depends upon the opposition within a structure. Within the Western philosophy and linguistic tradition, there always exists binary relationships like speech, writing, presence, absence, mind, body, signified, signifier, right? So the simplification of a sign depends upon this opposition. Derrida argues that these binary oppositions are not natural, but are constructed within language and thought. So what he says is that while defining sign, uh, Ferdinand de Saussure says that sign is actually a product of signifier and signified. So when he brought these two, so it's a binary, signifier and signified, like right and wrong, black and white. Okay, so these kind of construction, according to Derrida, is not natural. He says it's a constructed one. It's actually human construct. So he gives the concept of play, which means the language or the meaning within the structure is not fixed, but it is like play. There is no fixed one, moving one. Play here is moving. Okay. So for example, if I say, who is father? Define father. So in order to define father, you may say that, uh, father is a person who is married and who has a child, right? So now then you go to defining what does married mean? What is child? So in order to define one thing, you go on, moving around, playing, you know, moving around, for another one, right? So which means there is no fixed one. So that idea, according to Derrida, is actually a play. Okay, so he talks about structure, sign, and play. So for him, sign is not fixed one, right? Like sign and signified, the idea given by the concept given by Ferdinand de Saussure. So he says that uh, there is no fixed meanings or structures attached within the language. Anything else apart from this? Okay, there is also we have tried to understand the Derrida's notion of language. Any other thing that you would like me to discuss? Well, I would like to give you a couple of suggestions. That is, whenever you are attempting any examination, make sure you start with whatever you are comfortable with. within the question paper. The first thing what you do is, the moment you take the question paper, you read it complete. You spend 2-3 minutes, it may not take more than that, to read the whole paper, all the questions in the question paper. It may not be 15 or more than that. So even if you are spending half a minute on each question paper, it may not require even half a minute to read one question. But even if you are spending half a minute, it may not take more than 2-3 minutes to read the entire paper. What would happen is, when you read the whole paper, it will help you to make up your mind that, yes, out of 15 questions, I am good at 10, and the other two I have to manage. Okay. This is something, you can, make up your mind. So what you can do is, once you know that out of 15, these are the 10 I am going to attempt for sure, then you start writing those 10. Okay. So what most of the students do, they don't read the whole paper first. They start with one question they come across or they see, and they start writing. No, don't do that. You plan how you are going to attempt this question paper. It will take 2 minutes, 3 minutes, not more than that. If you could do that, then you will not have restlessness. You will not panic. Okay. Now, out of 15 questions, maybe you have to attempt some of you. Let me actually do one thing. I'll take one of the old question paper and show you, so that our conversation would be more meaningful. Now on your screen, we have one old sample paper. And so I am sharing this with you so that you can plan and prepare in a better way. Okay. The first thing is that this question paper is of 70 marks, which means in order to pass in this paper, you need to score a minimum of 28 marks. Okay. Now, if you look at the question paper, you have different sections. Okay. And section 1 has as many as 8 different questions. And out of that, you have to, is this the latest model? I'm just wondering. Yeah, there are total 18 questions, any 5 of the following. Okay, so in this section 1, there are 8 different questions, and you are required to write only 4. So you have plenty of options, right? So what you do, you just read all the questions that are given. Write a note on debate about the novelist's use of language. Okay. Then explain the theoretical base of structuralism. Write concepts of literature emerge in literary theory. Give the influence of Dhwani theory in Indian poetry. How does linguistics provide analytical tools for the idea of death of author? What are the chief objections of Plato against literature? What are the primary features of poetry as literary language? Write a note on denotation, connotation, literary language. Now, if you read this question paper, now tell me which 4 of the 8 questions that you are able to answer. So which 4 you are going to answer? What you do is, in examination, you just mark with a dot or a pencil the question that you are going to write. For example, if I am attempting this question paper as a what we say examinee, then what I would do immediately after reading 8 these questions, I'll go and mark that I am going to attempt question number 8. I am going to attempt question number 7. I am also going to attempt question number 6. Right? 3 are over. Then I'll go and attempt question number 2. So in my case, I'm clear that I am going to focus only on this question, these 4 questions, nothing else. Got it? All other things I'll just leave out, because even though I may be knowing something or other about Dvani theory or other things, but right now in the examination hall, I'm not concerned about all those things. I'll just focus on structuralism, try to uh, what gather 4 or 5 different important points about structuralism, and that is what I'm going to write in my examination. Same is case with Plato. Same is case with features of poetry. Same is the case with denotation, connotation, literary language. Done in 2 minutes. I'll go to the next page. Now, next page, write a note on rhetoric. Yes. Write a note on structures of the shadow story. Okay. What, according to Althusser, is interpellation? Okay. Define the novel as a literary form and give brief account of the types and concerns of the novel. Okay. Write a note on narratology. Fine. Write note on literary language and scientific language. Yes. List the principal languages of India. Okay. Comment briefly on the form and technique. Write a note on the chief components of the narrative. What is a deconstructive reading? Now, again, I have how many? 9, 9, 18. Okay. 4, 8, 10. Now I have 10 different questions, out of which I have to write only 5. Okay. So what I would do, I would first select which ones I am going to write. The first one, 9th one, write a short note on rhetoric. Easy. I'll write it. Okay. Question number 13, write a note on narratology. Easy. I'll write it. Question number 15, 14 and 15. Yes, easy. Right. So remaining, maybe I'll go with principal languages. Yes. Literary scientific languages. Narratology. Yes. Rhetoric. Yes. 12th one. Yes. So these are the only 5 that I am going to write. So I'm not bothered about remaining options available. Okay. Done. Now, when you have decided, right? When you have decided, now go back to the answer sheet. Then write the question number. Write the question number and then start. Coming to short answers, and you have also first long answers, then you have short answers. So these are the 4 are the long answers. Okay. Then you have short answer. Now, in a normal A4 size page, if you are typing, then the typed A4 size page may contain as many as 200 words, which means when you write it, with the size of normal handwriting, then you may write 100 words per page. With if you write it in handwriting, I think not more than 100 words would come in a single page, single side, right? So 2 sides would be around 200 pages, 200 words. So which means you have to write 3 or more sides for one answer in terms of quantity. But remember, Rather than focusing on the number of pages, you focus on number of points that you are trying to write. Now, in any long answer questions, try to have as many as 7 to 10 different points. Each point can be explained in 3, 4, 5 lines, which would be one paragraph. So similarly, you try to have 7 to 10 different paragraphs for a long answer of 10 marks. Then in the same way, when you come to short answers, you try to have at least around 5 to 6 paragraph about this one. So a short answer may be of 1.5 to 2 pages, whereas long answers may go to 3, 4, 5. Okay, depends. But remember one important thing: you have 3 hours to write all the answers. 5 minutes in the starting to read the paper, 5 minutes in the end to cross-check the numbers and paper, whether you have written the correct question number or not. Whatever question number is given in the question paper, write that number only. If you're writing, say, answers for rhetoric, you definitely have to write question number 9 as answer number 9. Don't invent your own numbers section wise. Whatever order given in the question paper, you just follow that. Okay, so if you're writing an answer on rhetoric, please start writing 9 as first thing. Then you write about rhetoric. Okay, now the another important point as an examiner for many years, I would like you to know, which we come across while evaluating a script, is that first people do not follow the order of the questions given. That is, if the question number 9 is there for rhetoric, what they'll do, they write section number on top and they'll start writing 1. Now, if the section B, even though the name of the section is section B, right, the number of the question is not 1, it is 9. So still you have to write 9, not 1. You don't invent that. First thing. Second thing is that, sometimes what would happen is, even though we have 50% options to leave and 50% to attempt, sometimes question paper may be very tough. So what would you do? You do not leave any questions unattempted. In question number 8, sorry, in section A, you have to attempt 4 questions. So maybe you are able to write answers for all the 3, but the 4th one is so difficult that you cannot, or you may not be able to attempt. So what do? You leave it. You don't write about it. But that is what is not good from examination point of view. You write the 3 questions first that then go to section B. There you have to write 5 questions. You write those 5 questions. But when at the last, towards the end of your exam, you may get 5-10 minutes. Right? In that time, what you do is you write that 4th question number that you wanted to attempt in section A, and then you write something about it. Something, whatever comes to your mind related to that topic, you just write it. So that in the worst case scenario, that one attempted question would save you from failure. Got my point? I hope you are able to understand what I'm trying to explain to you. So never ever leave out any questions. If you are asked to write 4 answers, you try to write all 4 answers. Some answers you can write excellent, some answers would be average, but one answer or 2 answers which you do not know for sure, but you still try to attempt. That's what my point. I hope you are able to understand what I'm trying to convey.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, in section B, 12th question,
Mhm.
define the novel as a literary form and give a brief account on this. That answer, sir,
Mhm.
143 page number.
Yes. So when
Can you
we
please?
look, yeah, I'll discuss that. I'll discuss the topic. I will come to the topic, but we are discussing the structure of the paper and what you should and should not do in the examination point of view. We'll come to that specific topics. Okay. Yes. So hope you understood, right? So if you are asked to write 5 answers in section B, my suggestion to you as an examiner is, you please attempt all the 5. Even if you know 3 answers, even if you know 2 answers, even if you know all the 5 answers, you attempt all the 5. Don't leave out any mandatory question. You need not have to write extra answers. This is also keep this also in mind. If you are asked to write 5 questions in section B, whereas there are 10 different questions given to you, do not write sixth one. It is of no use. It's not going to help you. Write only those 5 which you are comfortable with, which you decide in the beginning itself. And out of those 5, if you are very good at on 3 answers, you will happily write all the 3. I know. But some students, what they do, they leave out the 4th one or 5th one or both. Do not do that. Write the question number, write something related to it. Something or the other. 1 paragraph, 2 paragraph, 5 paragraph, whatever you can write. You just write. Don't leave a blank. Okay. In the worst case scenario, maybe not in this paper, maybe in some other paper, right? In the worst case scenario, at least attempting the question would save you from failing. I hope you understand my concern, my suggestion. Okay. And there is no benefit in writing extra answers. Mark this. The more number of questions that you write than required will go best. It's of no use to you, not to the examiner. It will take your time unnecessarily. It will consume time of others also. And eventually, you're not going to get any marks for that. So whichever you decide in the beginning, you focus on that and write it beautifully. And in a written examination, yes, your presentation and writing matters. Those who think that, what about presentation? I am writing about fine. No, no. It is a written examination, so presentation matters. Even in oral examination also, your presentation matters. Don't write for the sake of writing. Write as if you are presenting it, which means you have to beautify it in terms of your language usage, in terms of what points you highlight, right? What things you underline, all those things matter. Okay. I hope these suggestions will help you to write your examinations in a better way and score good marks and go out with better grades in the society and market.
Thank you, sir.
Now, coming to one important topic, student has asked about, what is novel and different, uh, genres of novel, right? We know for the fact that novel is actually a uh, is a fictional narrative, right? Written in prose, not poetry or drama. Okay, so that is a small definition of what novel is. Novel is actually a uh, classification or a category within literature. It is a lengthy fictional narrative written in prose. And typically, it focuses on the development of characters, right? And an engaging plot. And it also has, narrator. Hmm? And yeah, so it has a plot, it's characters, and it also has a setting. Okay. Novel is a fictional narrative. Remember this definition. Novel is a long or a lengthy, whatever word you want to use. Novel is a long or a lengthy, no, fictional narrative, right? In prose. Why I'm telling you prose? Because we have poetry, drama, and prose as three different, categories of literature. So novel is a long fictional narrative in prose. Okay, and it has an engaging plot, right? Characters, setting, right? And also other smaller elements. I hope you wrote down this definition. And in English, Daniel Defoe's, Robinson Crusoe uh, is considered as a one of the first novels. Okay, in English, I'm talking about English. In other languages, I don't know, but in English, uh, usually Daniel Defoe's, Robinson Crusoe is considered as the novel. There are different characteristics of a novel. Apart from long prose narrative, it also has well developed characters, right, and engaging plot. And the novel is often about some theme or message. Right? Now coming to different types of novels. Now you define what novel is, right? And then we'll look at it into its different types. So first you remember that novel has many different types. Romance. Okay, so romance is a type of novel where development of romantic relationships between characters, right? Often exploring the themes of love, passion, and commitment could be found. One example of romance novel is, Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. Remember this. And then you have mystery novels. Okay? Mystery means suspense, right? So these kind of novels always often are about crime or puzzles. Hmm? And one example of mystery novel is, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's, Sherlock Holmes. This is a complete series, Sherlock Holmes. So we talked about two different types until now. Romance, right? Where there is exploration of, theme of love. Example is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. And the other one is mystery novel, which means it's about suspense, it's about crime, exploration of crime. An example is Sherlock Holmes. And another type of novel is historical novel. Now, what historical novel does is, it takes the reader into the past, uh, in a fictional way, obviously, But the event, the past that novel is talking about, will have a clear resemblance to the real history, real historical setting, or real historical figures. Okay. Now you have uh, one particular novel by Indian writer. Her name is I'm just not able to recall it quickly. Let me The River of Fire. Okay. The River of Fire is a novel uh, written by Furratullah and Heather. It's actually about the past history of the Bengal. Okay. So that is historical fiction. Okay. Now you also have fantasy. Fantasy fiction, fantasy novel is a novel where you have imaginative worlds with magic, mythical creatures, fantastical elements, things like that. So we have many examples of it. Your Lord of the Rings, and we have one more, says Harry Potter, right? All those are, fantasy novels. So if you could talk about this, 4 5 different major, types also, and giving one examples each, that would be good enough. But there are also other, types of novels and forms and structure. One is called epistolary. The other is, buildings Roman. So these are, again, different, types of novel. Picaresque, stream of conscious novel. Right? These are based on the structure of the novel. Okay. Yes, so this would be good enough if you write about these things. Any other thing that I would require to discuss with you, or on this on a happy note, shall we close today's
Sir,
class?
can I ask one more question, sir, please?
Yeah, yeah.
So, what are the primary features of poetry as a literary language? Means we should write this alliteration, onomatopoeia, imaginary symbols. That only, sir, or
Yes, yes, yes.
another question?
Uh, I think, if you remember, we discussed about, language of poetry. So poetry becomes poetry because of foot, meter, rhyme, rhythm, right? And
Yes,
figures of
sir.
speech. And figures of speech. So these
Yes.
are the characteristics of a poetry. So anything that is asked about poetry, or language of poetry, or features of poetry, you definitely have to talk about these features only. There's nothing more than that.
So,
Okay?
alliteration. That only, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Figures of speech covers, alliteration, simile, onomatopoeia, and all those things.
Association, irony. Yes.
Yeah. Mm.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
But you remember the moment when you are talking about, poetry, rhyme and rhythm,
Yes, sir.
right? Meter, foot. That rhyme and rhythm is because of, this foot and meter.
Sir,
Okay.
that is form in poetry.
Yeah. See, whatever you talk about, these are the features of, poetry. If you take away these things, the poetry will not remain poetry. It will simply be a prose. Okay. If you remove rhyme and rhythm, that rhyme and rhythm are the primary things. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are is not a prose line. It's a poetic line. So what is that makes this poetry? The rhyme and rhythm. So how rhyme and rhythm is coming up is because of foot and meter. Okay, and because of other figures of speech, metaphor, simile, irony. All these things are adding value to the uh, poetry. Okay.
Okay, sir.
And as an example, you cite this twinkle, twinkle, little star. Okay, so thank you so much for attending my classes and making these lectures possible, or these online counseling sessions possible. I wish you good luck, and I wish you that you come out with flying colors, with better grades in your examination, and you pursue higher education as well. Okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.